All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a long night, so buckle up. We're going to go into the Monday, April 7th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting. Between this meeting, we will have a pause so that we can start into the agenda prep, and then we'll have a pause after that before we go into a special call meeting. So we'll just kind of give you guys a heads up on how things are going to roll tonight. All right, at this point in time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. The first and second item on our list, I'm going to group them together. First is a consideration of a resolution to revise the fee schedule for the Oakland Cemetery. And item 2 is consideration of of an ordinance to amend the administration fee for the Oakland Cemetery. Move items 1 and 2 be forwarded to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
If anyone's needing any information on this, things have gone up, and so this is just adjusting the fees to absorb the increase in cost to vendors, or from vendors. There's been a motion to move items 1 and 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Items 1 and 2 are forwarded. Items 3 and 3A. Item 3 is consideration of a resolution for the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a grant agreement with the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program for Certified Local Government Grant Award. And 3A is the appropriation of $55,500 from the 2024 general fund carryover balance to fund a comprehensive revision of the Russellville Downtown Historic District design guidelines and efforts towards local preservation.
Is this 100%?
It's fully reimbursable grant, yes.
Motion that we move to the full council with recommendation for approval.
Awesome. So we have items 3 and 3A have been moved to the full council with a recommendation of approval. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Items 3 and 3A are forwarded. Item 4 is appropriation from the 2024 general fund carryover balance in the sum of $211,640 to fund the renovation of Hangar 1 West. Move item 4 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. All those in favor of moving item 4 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 4 is forwarded. Item 5 is an appropriation of the 2021 Economic Development Capital Fund carryover balance in the sum of $19,995 to purchase a Mud Dog pressure washer trailer. Move item number 5 be forwarded to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 5? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Item 5 is forwarded. Item 6 is consideration of a resolution expressing the willingness of the city to utilize TAP funding and authorizing the mayor and city clerk, treasurer, and grant administrator to execute all necessary documents for the Russellville Comprehensive Trail System, complete connections. Move item 6 be forwarded to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Second. Any discussion on item 6? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Item 6 is forwarded. Item 7 is discussion for the DNR Railroad Raise Grant Alignment, sponsored by the grant administrator. I guess we can yield the floor to the grant administrator if that would be the...
Ms. Dinkle, would you approach the podium, and for those at home, please state your name.
I'm Kelly Dinkle. We are basically seeking the council's direction. We're moving forward with the original alignment of the RAISE grant, which runs down DNR Railroad. After the engineer and city attorney has met with DNR and have come to an agreement, and within that agreement, they are asking for an additional liability insurance coverage, and it would be perpetual based on Northwest Arkansas. They have a similar, and I've reached out to 2 different insurance agencies to get a quote. I've yet to actually get a physical quote, but Brown & Brown in town stated that take that quote for what it's worth. You're not going to get it any cheaper, and that's basically what it's going to be. And it's currently $4,100 annually for a $5 million policy, but that would be a perpetual agreement that the city would have to agree to in order for us to keep that alignment along DNR Railroad. Trey, if any other questions regarding that actual agreement and the stance of insurance and our tort immunity, he would have to answer those questions.
Mr. Smith, what does perpetual mean? Assuming, what if they go out of business, or they transfer the business to someone else?
What it means is it's perpetual, it's forever.
So this is just in general liability coverage for along the railroad tracks?
Yes, for us to be doing business close to the railroad tracks, they want us to have a extra insurance policy to cover them.
Well,
To
to cover the trail.
To cover
The
the trail,
trail.
cover the
Yeah,
trail, yes,
not
cover the
the-
trail,
yeah.
cover the trail, yeah. Well, it relieves them from being sued.
Do we have additional liability coverage across the other trails?
No, because
That we have?
we purchase those and we have.
That's just through
We
the
have tort
city.
immunity, but basically, Mr. Smith, are we not purchasing this to cover our trail to also, they would be an additional insured?
Yes, the problem is when a city buys liability insurance, then it waives its tort immunity up to the policy limits. So basically, this will give the city, they could be sued up to $5 million if somebody gets hurt on the trail and they think it's the city's negligence. So that's what you're giving up for entering this agreement.
So, in summary, I guess, is we've looked at this. It was in the plan that we put forward to RAISE grant, for the RAISE grant. The DNR, whenever we went out to get all our, what's it called? Go get all the land. and
Yeah,
stuff.
land acquisitions,
All the
easements, yes.
acquisitions and all that stuff, and easements, they came back and said, no, their board came back and said, no, we need insurance coverage, and we said, look, it's under tort immunity. They didn't believe us. They're requiring it. The option is, we gotta move the trail, which doesn't happen easily and will be much more than this cost to do. So,
Is there any buffering that's been engineered in, or is it, I mean, how close is
There's-
it going to be?
There's
There
actually a
is
fence.
we have in our grant for a fence, so there is a barrier fence. We're on the far edge, as close to the edge of the right-of-way that we can be. And I don't remember the feet. Sarah, do you remember how many feet? There's some places it's 50 feet, and there's some places that is less than 50 feet from the track, but we are away with that barrier and signage.
So I'm going to go back to my other question. So, Mr. Smith, let's say DNR goes out of business. Does the policy just get canceled, or what's that look like? I'm talking, 10 years from now, 100 years from now.
The policy wouldn't automatically be canceled, but we would have to see who their successor is and address it at that time. That's
If
just
it-
too speculative.
If at some point
Thank you.
they do not require us to have it anymore, we then would not have to pay it anymore and would still go back to being under tort immunity, correct?
If they did that, but speaking to them, that's not going to happen. They insisted upon this.
I want to say it was 4135, but don't, let's just say 4100. Northwest Arkansas has had this same policy for 8 years with no claims. When they first started, it was $4,000, because I have their original, and it's went up $135 in eight years.
So keeping the trails the way that it is, running next to the railroad tracks, we're gonna have $4,100 a year added to it. Moving, if we were to change the trail, one, would that, how would that affect the grant award itself if we changed from the scope of what was originally proposed?
We wouldn't be reducing the length, so I don't believe there will be any repercussions. And we've had these conversations because we knew this was coming. Basically, we'd be shifting over more traffic. There's multiple driveways, utility relocation, so the expense might get pretty.
You would probably expend over the amount of 100
Right.
years of insurance, probably, easily. So,
Make a motion to push to the full council the recommendation of approval.
We'll need a resolution.
Yeah, it's just to see the will.
you can make a motion.
Can I make a motion to move this to the full council with the recommendation of approval?
We have a motion. Never mind, I'm sorry.
Is your motion to create a resolution for the appropriation for this insurance? Yes. And that was the second?
What do you need to move forward on this?
I'm just gonna, if it's the will of the council and y'all are in agreement, we're gonna move forward with engineering and I'll do the resolution.
Gotcha.
And again, this won't start till the trail is constructed, so we're not looking at this until 2029, maybe 2028, but 2029. So it's gonna be a while, but I'll do the resolution.
Gotcha. Well, whatever you need from us, just let us know.
Thank you.
So then just to make sure I understand, so we're moving forward and in 2028, 2029, that council will cross that bridge as far as actually purchasing the policy, getting a quote at that point?
Right, we just need to know that, yes, we can do this. So I guess I would need a resolution showing that we're in agreement, right?
Yeah, a resolution showing the willingness of the council to pay for
Okay.
insurance, yada, yada.
And then when the time comes, we'll buy the policy.
Yeah,
So,
it would be silly of us to stop at
In order for us to sign the
$27 million
agreement with the licensing agreement with DNR Railroad, we need the yes, or else we can't sign the agreement with DNR Railroad.
So
When
then,
is DNR wanting it signed, this license
When are
agreement?
they wanting it signed?
Yes.
I'm not certain, but in order for us to move forward, we'll have to sign it sooner rather than later because we
Okay.
can't do any engineering or anything on that segment of the trail until
So you need the
we
resolution.
have their blessing.
You need a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the license agreement.
That would be great, yes.
And then you'll do an appropriation ordinance at some point to fund the liability insurance.
Yes,
But we won't need that until at least a few more years.
right.
So who's going to make that resolution?
well, we've got a motion on the floor. Do you want to change your motion to that?
My motion is to move to the full council with whatever Mr. Trey said.
And second. Okay. So we have a motion and second to move a resolution to the full council authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute the agreement with the DNR Railroad for the future purchase of the liability insurance for that portion of the trail. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, that's forwarded. Item 8 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign a long-term lease for property used as public parking for the downtown area, sponsored by the mayor. Mayor, what can you tell us about this?
We have a property that is just north of the railroad track, Union Pacific Railroad track between Commerce and Arkansas, North Arkansas, North Commerce. We have worked out an agreement for a long-term lease on this property to where we could build additional downtown parking. And I need the ability to sign a contract with them. I believe it's a year, I can't remember how long, it's $10 a year.
Was that 100 years for $10
100 years,
a year?
$10 a year. And then at that point in time, we can go out to bid to get the quote. We have preliminary engineering, but then we can take it out to bid, get quotes on that, and then potentially build additional parking for downtown.
Is there any, are we going to have to raise any current structures there?
There will be some structures that will have to go down, which we already have purchased those, I believe, so.
When
And
you
then-
say build parking, you mean like flat parking
Like
ground?
build a parking lot, build an
Lot,
actual
okay.
parking lot
Not
with.
like a parking
no.
garage or, yeah.
Where are you coming up with that money, man?
I don't want it.
I was
No,
like, where are you coming up with that
I'm
money?
opposed to a parking garage.
Yes, I
yeah,
know.
so.
No, to build an actual parking lot, and it will actually, you'll have your trailhead, your trail will be going through there, and then you'll have curb and gutter, you'll have parking spaces, you'll have lights and everything. So in order to go out to bid, I really need to be able to have an agreement, the ability to sign this agreement before we go out to bid.
Do we have like an approximate amount of what you think that this could potentially cost?
I think we were talking somewhere around $400,000. If I remember, Mr. Newman's not here. He is in Little Rock with the Corps of Engineers. It's been a while since we actually talked about actual numbers. We've been working on this for probably 8 to 10 months. Mr. Newman and I have. We finally have come to a situation where I think we have a working agreement. Mr. Smith has come up with a working agreement, and so we would at this point, we would just be going out to bid. Once you go out to bid, there's nothing requiring the council to move forward. Then we bring a bid proposal to you and say you either want to go forward with this or you choose not to.
Do you have an estimate on how much parking that will
I
provide?
believe overall, I think there'll be 2 different phases because we can't build it all at this point in time. I think there'll be 59 or 60 spots. Yeah, so it'll be quite a few additional spots for when we have downtown events and also during the day.
Did you find out about the grant for the EV
EV,
station?
RDOT has all of the money for the electronic charging stations, and they are not coming off of I-40. They're really not coming. We have pushed, and we're still having conversations with them because I think we should have them right off Highway 7 because that's a major thoroughfare. But they're really pushing I-40. Maybe if anybody in the audience has any flex with RDOT, they might put in a good word for us. I don't know, but no, there is. They have really been pushing to keep those really close to I-40. But I think Highway 7 would be a great place. So. But yes, we have tried that. So.
What do you need from us?
I just need a resolution to allow me to sign an agreement with this long-term lease, and then I can come back. We can go and put this out to bid, and then we can come back and when we have actual numbers and see what we can do to move forward.
Motion to approve to forward to the full council a resolution for the mayor to sign for a long-term lease that property.
Okay, item number 8 has been, or is a motion to move item number 8 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any more discussion on item 8? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Item 8 is forwarded. Item 9 is an appropriation from the 2021 Parks and Rec Special Fund reserves in the sum of $6,902 to purchase a courtesy dock with a kayak ramp. Now, this is to replace the one that is,
I believe this is at the ski
Sinking.
area.
It's the one that's currently at the ski area that needs to be done. It's a 20, we pay 75% match. So it's actually a $26,000 dock they're going to replace.
I move item number 9 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Any more discussion on item 9? All those in favor? All those opposed? Item 9 is forwarded to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Item 10 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to dispose of personal property rendered worthless by prolonged use of unsold at the public auction having residual value, and also authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign any agreement to the disposal of said property. Wasn't it like
This is old computer.
150 old computers?
Yes, we actually tried to sell them. The problem is, whenever we dispose of a computer, we are required to take out the hard drive and destroy the hard drive. So the computers are actually so old, so they really have no value to anyone if they have to buy a hard drive and put them in. So we had pallets of them just for auction, and nobody really wanted to bite on those. So this is a great opportunity. Ms. Jackamore's worked hard to find us a source for this. They're actually going to come pick them up. They're going to take them from us, and so there won't be any cost to us. There may be a nominal fee that they actually, not a fee, they may give us a nominal amount for them, but it has no value at all.
Okay, item 10 has been moved to the full council with a recommendation of approval. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Item 10 is forwarded. Item 11 is consideration of a resolution expressing the willingness of support by the city for the Ozark off-road cyclists to apply for TAP RTP grant for the Pine Knob Phase 2, and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer and grant administrator to execute all necessary documents in support of the Ozark off-road cyclists applying for this grant.
So this is a grant running along, it would be a soft surface trail running along the base of Skyline from Pine Knob. If you can think about visually, from Pine Knob over to the corner of Inglewood and 12th Street.
In the curve.
In the curve, 100%.
And this connects with the one that's at Confederate Mothers? Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
that's Pine Knob.
This is a
Okay,
great
okay.
local organization that really works hard to build trails, and this is just us partnering and our willingness to partner with them and support them, so.
I move we forward item 11 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Item 11 is forwarded. Item 12 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to sign and offer an acceptance agreement for the purchase of a 5 acres of land at 1801 South Knoxville. Mayor, what can you tell us about this?
We've been looking for a property for Recreation and Parks to have an actual shop. At this point in time, they don't have a building where they can actually pull in their large tractors and work on them. So we're actually expending some money to send a lot of our stuff and outsource some of our maintenance. This property actually, it's the old Ferguson Supply. It actually adjoins Hickey Park in our parking lot already. We'd actually had appraisals on 2 separate buildings before this, and then this building came open. So there's a 20,000 square foot building and 2 acres of fenced-in lot for storage. Just to kind of give you an idea, our recreation and parks, if you know the little building there at the corner of B Street and Knoxville, so if you have a trailer on your park and rec truck and you're working that day, you take it to another location, you drop it off in a yard, then you drive your truck to another location and you park it because we don't have a large enough yard. And so this happens every day. So in the next morning, you get your truck and then you drive across town and you get your trailer with your mower or whatever you're working on. So this would allow us to have storage not only for, I think you'll see the ability to have storage for multiple departments because we have such a large warehouse space. And then we also, we're looking at, you'll be seeing probably in the next month, we'll be needing to replace our Christmas decorations because our new poles are 2/3 of the size of the ones that we had prior to the project. Somebody took our big poles away and put shorter poles in, so we're going to have new decorations. So this will give us indoor indoor storage for these. It's a very good building, and the price is $775,000 for 20,000 square feet. That works out to $38 a foot. And if anybody knows anything about square footage, that's a very good buy right now. And that's not even taking into consideration 5 acres.
What specific budget is the revenue coming from?
Here's my proposal. We are in the process of our next door neighbors, Point Remove has exercised their right to purchase out their contract. And at that point in time, we should be closing within the next 30 days. I believe we're close now. Then that's $440,000 that's going to be coming into your, from the sale of this building. We could move that over there and you could take $335,000 out of your 2021 capital asset fund. And that puts you purchasing a piece of property that would be useful. I think you'll be able to, the yard will be, I think, even as nice as our Public Works building is right now, they're running out of storage in the back storage, and so we would have more storage for our Public Works. I think it can be a multi-use facility there.
Do we,
About 220 from the capital asset fund.
No, I'd say 335. Yeah, 335. Yes, sir. 335. You're going to be 775. And they have chose to accept our offer. I didn't get the Mr. Smith put a buy-sell agreement and pushed it to them. Their attorneys didn't get it back to me till this afternoon, so it was not time enough to do the proper press release for that special call meeting. So we would be voting on that next week. But they have chose to accept our offer.
I assume there's been an appraisal on this
No.
property?
Well, we will have 60 days to close, which will allow us to do our due diligence, which would allow us to secure an appraisal, because we would have to have an appraisal. I didn't want to spend that money until we had but they are allowing us to have 60 days to close. We would be able to get an appraisal in that period of time. We would be able to, if anyone so chose, they would go out there and be able to look at the building. I have taken Todd Chamberlain, our maintenance supervisor, and Terry Thomas and Sammy out there, and we've looked at the building, and it's a very, very strong, it's a good building for us.
Good, okay. I was just making sure we had so we pay for the appraisal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so.
All right, so they'll be coming back before us. All right,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
No major repairs for the structure or anything like that that
Not
we're
that we
looking
have
at?
seen. I mean, like I say, we'll have due diligence to where we can go in and we can look at the property, and if we choose to back out, then you'd be able to choose to back out, but I don't see that happening.
So move item 12 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Any more discussion on item 12? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, nay. Item 12 is forward. Then the last item on our agenda for finance is discussion of conveyance of a small tract of land to the city for the trail system and payment of a property tax bill. What can you tell us about this, Mr. Smith?
Just been in touch with a realtor who had a client that recently sold property at 817 South Lonan Avenue this year or sometime last year. Prior to that, I think the year before, that person had granted a certain part of the property they owned for an easement for the trail system. And the person, when they realized, after they sold it, they realized that what was actually drawn up did not include what was thought was conveyed to the city, and it retained in her her property, and so there's this sliver, I haven't got an actual size yet, but she was offering it to the city to convey it, and then, of course, she got a property tax bill, even though she thinks that the time that she conveyed, she thinks she never used it, that area, and believed it was conveyed to the city at that time. And I just said that told the realtor I would bring this request up to the Finance Committee, and I am hoping by next week I can get a aerial of the conveyance proposed so that you can see it in relation to the trail and the property itself.
And it was like $130-some dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So $130-some dollars, and then we get the land that we thought we already got.
Well, we didn't want it. For some reason, she thought she conveyed more than what was actually drawn up in the papers. And then when she sold the property was drawn up and it didn't have that sliver in based on what she had thought or what the survey had done and the legal had gotten, so it was conveyed. And so the new owner of the land, he does not want it, so she's offering to us at this point. Whether it's beneficial or not to the trail system, I don't know. I just know it's adjacent to it.
I know that in the supporting documents, it was saying if it's usable for the trail system, we should do it. If it's not, it's just going to increase the burden on the city for having to maintain this land. Do we know if it will be beneficial to the trail system or not?
Mr. Duval, do you have any knowledge of that? You do not, okay.
I think until we get the aerial, we're not going to know just whether it can be incorporated or whether it's in excess.
I believe Mr. Newman will be here Thursday. Mr. Newman is in a required meeting by the Corps of Engineers this week for the Prairie Creek project in Little Rock, so.
I mean, how many acres, how much land can it be for
It's not much,
$140?
yeah, well,
You know?
well, I think that's your property tax or something, so.
What was the address again?
I believe it's the Little White, is this not the Little White House there at 8th Street in Glenwood?
Yes.
When you, if you're going south on Glenwood, if you make a sharp right onto that trail. Mr. Olson, you seem to know more about trails than anyone. Can you maybe give us a little insight or not?
This is the first I've heard of it, but
Okay.
until we have an aerial and know exactly what we're talking about, he's giving us bullet points and we're just gonna
Yep.
figure it out next time.
Okay.
Well, for a way to go for next week, can we just say that after we've got the aerial and all the folks who need to examine it to figure out if it's going to be beneficial to the trail system, look at it? If they say it will be, then can we get a resolution going ahead and doing it? But if it's not, then we don't need to, yeah.
Totally. I
So-
completely agree.
So it'll be on the 5:30
Yeah.
meeting?
So next Thursday, yeah.
Okay.
Now, Mayor, that's the last item on our agenda this evening.
All right, we're going to adjourn real quick, and then we'll jump right into agenda prep. Meeting adjourned. We will, just to give you a heads up, we're going to go straight into the agenda prep, then we will adjourn for probably 3 to 5 minutes for a restroom break in between agenda prep and the special call meeting. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will call this Monday, April 7th, 2025, agenda prep meeting to order. Mr. Duval, you want to come up and give us 2 minutes and 2 seconds?
The only job I have to report on this month is the East Main Sidewalk Project. We will be doing our final walkthrough Friday morning. So we're at the end, so it's very near completion. When we do that, we'll send out our final payment and we're done. It's nice, very nice.
And thank you to all your crews that did preliminary cleaning on all our drainage and everything. We had incredible rain and did not have any major issues. It was pretty impressive week. So,
I didn't get any calls,
Yes,
if you can believe that, so it was great.
so grateful for all your team. So
Okay, thank y'all. Any
thank you.
questions?
Gina
Thank
said her
you.
backyard has water in it. No, I'm just kidding.
Mine does.
No. Okay. Moving on to the mayor's report, we're only going to have one item there. It's going to be Chase Smith to the Board of Commissioners for the Russellville Housing Authority. Moving on to unfinished old business, we have a consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for.
You have more because you got the wrong one.
I've got the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Sarah to come up.
Okay.
Sarah.
Oh, you have a couple more that are not on my agenda.
We had forwarded over information to a reappointment for the Historic Commission and then 2 commissioners, either reappointment or new appointments
Okay, so
for your
we'll have those,
consideration.
we'll have those on
Yes,
the
sir.
agenda. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And then we'll have unfinished old business. Item 1 will be a consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for La Union Social Club, Inc. This is allowing application of the required permits for the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division. This will be the second final reading. This is the restaurant that is in the old Steak and Shake building, I believe, which is called Toro's, if I'm not mistaken, haven't been there. Item 2 is consideration of ordinance to rezone a certain property from R1 to R2 medium-density residential located along the 1,000 block of Sequoia Way, submitted by William Strait on behalf of Victor Melchor. This came to us with approval from the Planning Commission by a 6-1 vote.
I have
This
a
will be
question about that.
third and final reading. Yes, sir.
Mr. Keller or Sarah, could you tell me what the dissent, usually they come unanimous?
The 6-1, I believe it was Commissioner Monfy who voted against it. She says she will never vote for changing an R1 to another zone. So she will
Okay.
always be a no on that.
So it wasn't anything specific to this, it was just principle. Okay.
Did they give you an idea of what they're wanting to do with that property?
They're building apartments, are they not?
Yeah, they're building, what, 3 or 4, like, townhouse-type
Yeah.
apartments?
Yeah, south side of Sequoia Way, yes. That'll be the third and final reading. Item 3 is consideration of an ordinance authorizing the extension of sewer outside the city limits of the city of Russellville, Arkansas to 1285 East Gum Street for other purposes. This is submitted by Nicholas Haggerty. This will be the second of 3 readings. So that is, we do have we have one speaker for this item is Ms. Terry Clear. Would you? Is there a Sherry Lynn in the audience? Do you know what item you chose to speak on? You didn't, which? Yes, the playhouse. Okay, yeah, okay, thank you. Just making sure, thank you.
Hi, Terry Clear. I didn't really prepare a lot today, but I had the opportunity, my friend, retired fire chief, was in town, and Friday we had the opportunity to take a tour of the central fire station. And both he and I were quite impressed with the depth and just the way the department is run and what they've achieved. They've worked really hard in the past couple of years to achieve their ISO rating of 2. In regard to this property, I think that any property that annexes to the city should meet the city standards before they annex, or be brought up to the city standards if they're already existing, so that it doesn't affect eventually, enough properties like this could affect the city's ISO rating and cause it to be a higher number, which would affect all of our homeowners' insurance rates. So if this gentleman doesn't want to meet our standards before he annexes, I think the life safety hazard of a 7-unit building that doesn't have adequate water supply for fire protection is just something that we shouldn't accept from him or anyone else. I think we should have city standards before people annex, just to keep our fire department as good as it is. It's an amazing thing. My friend worked for a fire department. Well, one of the fire departments he was chief at had an ISO rating of 1, and he was totally impressed with the Russellville Fire Department as well. So I'd like to keep it at the standard it's at.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Claire.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, and then you've got, moving on to item 4, will be consideration of an ordinance amending the current zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas. Ordinance 2443, and for other purposes, this will be the second of 3 readings. This was submitted by the Planning Commission. This is just some cleaning up some code, I'm assuming. Yeah. Miss, that's do what?
This is the long-term.
Long-term planning commission, yeah.
Long-term planning committee.
Yep.
I do apologize. There were some cleanup with this, but then there were some new language, and I
Because
forgot
of
to bring
legislature.
the...
Yeah, there was some, was it because of something that passed in the legislature, or I can't remember?
Not yet.
Gotcha.
There are some things that are happening at the legislature that will impact what we do future. I did not bring that right up with me today, so I don't know specifically. I can send you all that language again if you would like.
It says, okay, yeah, it'll be the second of 3 readings, so
Yes.
we'll be happy to hear that. Okay, thank
While
you.
you're up there, Ms. John Dahl, if Senate bill, I haven't looked the last couple of days, if 531 passes, will that affect us on item 3 as well?
Senate Bill 531 is regarding, is something that the state is working on, that if you request services and you live outside of the city, that you have to agree to build within the regulations of the community and annex. And so that would impact anyone wanting to connect, but that, I'm not exactly sure, like you, where it is in the process, but if it passes, it would be in effect at the beginning of August.
Is there a reason that we are not requiring them to become fully up to standards?
Ideally, we would absolutely require them to come up to the standards, annex, and then you can get services, which means apply for, obtain building permits. Historically, we have not followed that, and so we didn't necessarily want to institute that because historically we haven't. In my experience, if you want services, you annex, then you build according to the current regulations, because that is, Ms. Clear was absolutely correct in what she has stated. We work really hard for our ISO ratings. That impacts our citizens' insurance, and so it's ideal to annex prior to, and then they can obtain building permits. We were just allowing that because that's how we have done it historically.
So, I know we're back on item 3. Just to be clear, they're wanting sewer,
Yes.
but not water. I contacted Tri-County, and they do not have the pressure for fire protection. They said absolutely not was the answer.
Correct.
So I just want that council to know that for a 7-unit building.
Thank you, Ms. John Doe. All right. So we will be having a public hearing on new business item 1 on Thursday, and that is a consideration of the ordinance vacating and abandoning a 20-foot alleyway between lots 12 and 13, block 42, JL Shin Edition, the city of Russellville, submitted by I'm assuming that's RVI Investments LLC, so they'll be having a public hearing on item 1 and 1A
Is
there.
that a standard, cleanup like we do with these alleys, or is there something special we need to know?
Ms. John Dahl, you have any knowledge on that?
I just needed a few extra steps, right? They are closing that alley so that they can do a parking lot in between, because they're going to tear down the building just to the east of them so that they can have a parking lot for their business there.
Do you have an address? Because normally we've been getting addresses, but
This is over east of the Innovation Hub, between the Innovation Hub and the little yellow building over there. So I don't know their address.
Okay, you're talking about the old, Exxon station.
No, it's to the east of the Innovation Hub.
Oh, to the east, behind it. Okay, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. The old Frank House property.
Yes.
Yes, okay, yes, okay.
okay.
Yeah, they bought that property, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Now they're gonna raise it, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right, okay.
If we could continue to get addresses, it'd be helpful, because I'm not very
I
good
do
at my lots
apologize.
12 and 13, block 42 from,
Yeah. All
I
right,
do apologize.
All right.
We should get that to you in the future.
all right, thank you. All right, that should be it. We're going to adjourn. Hey, James, can you put me a 5-minute timer up, and can you do a 5-minute timer or not? If you do me a 5-minute timer, we're gonna have a hard 5 minutes here, so anybody needs to go to the restroom or anything, we'll reconvene here. Thank you. We're adjourned.